First up, we discuss Remgro and HCI's financial and gaming assets. Oh, you
what a
love
great
to
way to
wax
put them
lyrical about
together.
this.
I love the idea that you put the financial assets together with the gambling assets. You know, at the end of the day, that's what financial markets are all about. Isn't that true, Chris?
It's one big gamble.
The bottom line is you're both gamblers, aren't you?
No, not at all. But let's start with the financial ones. Look, this is really the focus area of Remgro, and it's because Johan Rupert, somewhere along the line, in his own evolution as a businessman, worked for a while in what was the beginning of the Rand Merchant Bank Group. So him and Gigi Ferreira, Paul Harris, Laurie Dippenaar were all the four buccaneers or four mountaineers. What do you call those people in France that fight with swords? The four musketeers. Yes. That's it, not mountaineers.
I'm glad you got there in the end.
So, I mean, he got involved there, and that bunch of interest, though, has been substantially reorganized in recent years, to the extent that now Remgro did a few swaps with other people, with the Royal Bafokeng. They've ended up with big chunky holdings in RMI, which is the insurance holding entity, and then in RMH, which gives them FirstRand. So very good, very substantial first-tier players in those markets, all of whom share price has done well, which has given them a nice lift.
On the financial side of things, before we get to the gaming aspect, your thoughts on the heavyweight here, which is obviously Remgro.
Yeah, are we talking purely on the financial side?
Just on the financial assets, so RMI and RMH.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clever over the years what's happened within that whole RMB stable, RMBH stable, and the way in which they've reorganized it. As Paul says, they're big buddies. I mean, some people would refer to them in not such glowing terms as being the Stellenbosch Mafia. I, of course, would refer to them as that way.
We often refer to them as the Stellenbosch Mafia on the show. No holes barred on that.
But very close, and as you can see, the financial side has always been good. I mean, if you go back a few years, a few years ago, it wasn't nearly as focused, but now it's much more focused, and it's looking good.
The gaming aspect, Paul, and here I'm sure you're going to really give us your thoughts on it.
Okay, so HCI, obviously, that's really where the bulk of their interests are, and that's that big holding in Hosken, which is about a 36% stake. Hosken, of course, we've talked about many times recently on the show. It's the agglomeration of Gold Reef plus the Monte Cassino assets. Its partner in that asset is SAB Miller. SAB Miller, for some reason along the line, picked up all these things, and they've got both gaming as well as, you know, resort destinations, hotels. They own Southern Sun, Intercontinental Group, Formula One, all that sort of stuff. They've recently commenced with quite a big expansion drive there, so they're putting more capital into Gold Reef and into Silver Star and to a bunch of other places. They're also going to increase their assets in Mozambique and Nigeria and so on and so forth. So that all looks good, very good. And I suspect that it's really the coming together of many, many years of hard work on the part of HCI to consolidate all of those empowerment interests and to end up with this big stake in Soho.
In terms of the gambling side of this business, it is no longer defensive. This is a discussion that we stopped having a long time ago in terms of gaming assets being defensive. Are we still on the same page?
Yeah, Ronald, it's less defensive than it was, although I still perceive a great deal of defensive qualities in there. And as Paul says, it's mainly Sogo Sun. They've got 41%. It accounts for about 35% of their earnings. But they've also got an exposure to limited payout gambling machines via a thing called Vukani in there as well. So, you know, I think it's well structured. This is a nice focus, and it's providing a big chunk of their earnings.
I want to just go back, though, to Remgro and to its financial interests, because I think it's pretty interesting that you can, with a purchase of Remgro shares, get effectively all of those insurance group assets, which means Metropolitan, Momentum, a big stake in Discovery, a big stake in Outsurance. And then in addition, you get FirstRand, which gives you, First National Bank, Rand Merchant Bank, and Westbank. So those are fantastic assets.
Really blue chip assets.
High growth assets. I think they've got a nice mix of retail as well as corporate banking and investment banking there. As you know, investment banking can be a bit twitchy, and in the world the way it is, there's a lot of regulation coming into that space. But to be positioned as strongly as they are in Africa, focusing on retail lines in insurance and banking, I think is very positive.
So for you, if you put the financial and the gaming assets and you compare them, you're saying financial takes a lead?
Yeah, look, I mean, Remgro is much bigger and these are much more valuable assets. I like both, but as far as it goes, there's no doubt that, that Remgro is the larger player in this environment.
Chris, where do you stand on this?
Look, I listen to what Paul's saying, and I don't disagree with him, and we're talking real quality here in terms of those financial assets. However,
I'm disappointed you don't disagree with him, but anyway.
But Sogo-san, you know, to me is a real quality asset play here as well, and I think with 41% of this, HCI has got a real winner in this one, and no, I like the look of that. I think it's real quality. So I wouldn't say that financial beats gaming in this